What's going on, Thompson'S Kennels? I had a partner of mine. He wanted me to do a video on puppy buying versus purchasing a full-grown dog. So let's get into this because I've done both. I've purchased older dogs and I've purchased puppies before. And like I said, this is just my opinion. It's not fact. This is just my personal experience. I prefer the puppy route. The reason why I prefer the puppy route is because with the older dogs, it's kind of like you catching a movie, but you didn't get to catch it from the beginning. And I know how everybody knows how that feels. It's like, it's like reading a book and just turning to page 150 and start reading and trying to put everything together. Now, the older dogs, when you purchase them, I would say you really need, if you're purchasing an older dog, me personally, my opinion, I'd have to be very familiar with the blood. Very, very, very familiar with the blood. If I'm not familiar with the blood, I'm gonna go the puppy route because I want to see the whole story. Like I got a Sorrel's dog. I never owned that blood before. I wanted it from a puppy. I wanted to see the whole story. Even if Maha would have turned out to be like a cur or something, I still wanted to know the whole story. I wanted to see how them puppies acted from day one. I wanted to see the whole thing. So it's important because when you breed it, if you've seen the parents, because like I'm past the point of purchasing dogs right now, where when I want a good dog, I can just make one. But when you're hunting for the good stuff, you want to see the whole story, because when you have a litter of pups, you want to be able to identify certain things that you've seen in the parents that you like. You know what I mean? That's how you know what's consistent and what's changed dramatically in a breeding. So if it's an older dog, I would like to be really experienced with the blood if I purchase an older dog. But for the most part, if I wanted to purchase one, I normally do the puppy route. And like I said, if that puppy grows up and it doesn't pan out, I don't use that as like the pinnacle for that whole bloodline. I just use it as a stepping stone. Okay, now I know what I'm dealing with. So that's like the puppy purchasing versus older dog purchasing. And you gotta, with the older dogs, when you purchase older dogs, you gotta know the dog, man, that you really getting the dog from. Like, there are things as one-man dogs. I've seen it before. I had a situation a while ago where I had purchased a dog. It wasn't an older dog, but that dog had already bonded with that dog, man. And I put in months with that dog, but nothing I could do would duplicate the relationship that dog already had with that dog, man. And when I brought the dog back to him, because he really didn't want to sell me the dog, and then he sold me the dog, when I brought the dog back, that dog was like, I'm home. So that's another aspect of it, because some people will get an older dog and be like, oh, he acts like a cur, or you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And it's really not that case at all. It's the fact that that dog has already set up a working relationship with its owner, and it does not feel comfortable with you now. Some real good dog, man, they can establish that bond, and then some of them can't. It's just a one-man dog, and that's how that plays out. So I like to start with puppies so I can see the full story on the dogs, how they acting, how they grow up, how they mature, the traits and tendencies. All of this stuff is information that you got to be documenting during this time. Because if I know those puppies normally start up real early, I know that's a trait in that line. Okay, if those dogs happen to turn on later on in life, that's a trait. All of this is information. That's why knowledge is so valuable with these dogs. And being in a family tree of dogs, that's a very powerful weapon, because people who have been in a family tree of dogs for years, they're not really stressing over a lot of stuff. They pretty much know what they're going to get. Not saying that every dog they produce is going to be an ace, But for the collective part of what they got going on, there's not too many question marks about what they're doing. And the comfort level that they have when they bust a move, I'm telling you, they have a very high confidence level in what they're doing because they're so experienced in the blood and they know what they're pretty much getting. And like I said, that's nothing is 100%. Everything's different, but for the most part, they know what's going on. So my advice, for just my opinion, I ain't even gonna say my advice because we know how the peanut gallery go. My opinion, I do the puppy route more than often than I would do the older dog route. I don't even sell prospect dogs. I don't sell, like, I have to know you, like, know your credentials to sell someone an older dog. It's just not something I ever felt comfortable doing. And my mindset with a lot of dogs that I got, if I put 15 months, 2 years, 2.5, 3 years into a dog, it's my dog. I'm not selling it. I mean, if I fed it for 3 years, I mean, it's my dog. I'd rather just let it sit here on my yard. You know, a lot of bullshit goes on with selling older dogs in this game, just for the reasons that I just told you. But that's a little bit on buying older dogs and puppies. It's levels to it. And like I said, this is my litter here. I appreciate everybody who is calling and interested. There is nothing available off of this litter. So as far as the buck rusher litter, I appreciate everybody who inquired. But yet again, there's nothing available off this litter. They just ate. I'm gonna let them calm down a little bit. And then I'm gonna give them a little Wormer and Albon and get them back on their feet. But they're just like there's question marks in getting a pup, there's question marks with getting older dogs as well. Like I said, because in this game, I put my hands on a lot of dogs, seen a lot of dogs, and that one-man dog thing, that shit is not a myth. It is not a myth. I've seen that numerous occasions, one-man dogs. Once they like who they like, and that's the other part of it too with puppies, there's certain traits, and I wouldn't even call it traits, I'll call it more tendencies that you're able to correct with a younger dog than it is to correct with an older dog. So don't think you getting a free pass because you bought an older dog, like you got a chance to skip the whole process of raising the dogs and all of that, and you could just fast forward to putting the breeding together. Because there's cons with getting older dogs just like there's cons with getting puppies. It just depends on how you look at it. But I don't know, I feel a little bit more of a sense of accomplishment when I have something from young and I watch it mature into an adult. I feel a little bit more confident about what I'm doing from getting an older dog and just busting the breeding and having to go off of just the litter of pups you got, because you don't have that much information. You may know how the dog is bred or what it's accomplished, but you know, you really don't know the true temperament on them dogs like that until you actually get them on your yard. So there's things you can correct with puppies that you're not going to be able to always change with an older dog. Some dogs are just like people. They stuck in their ways. Once they get in that way, they're stuck in it. You know, that's where that saying comes from. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. But like I said, that was just a little quick video on the puppy buying compared to buying an older dog. Like I said, always look at everything from a different angle. It's not just one way this way or one way that way. It's always pros and cons. There's nothing in this game that's 100% perfect or 100% guaranteed. So if you believe that, this ain't the game for you. But I hope this video helped y'all, and y'all have a good one.